Good morning students. Today we will discuss about other solid filling equipment. So in the previous class we had already discussed about your auger unit, yes, and your dosetar unit, and we have discussed about Lilly machine, right? So today in class we will see the other filling machines. Basically for every machine in the Latchman book which he has given in the table you have a description. So I will give you about description about two machines now. Okay, one is your Pharmatic filling machine and the other is your Osaka filling machine. I will send you the notes. This is from the older version of Latchman, so please do refer this for, because this is a very important question being asked for 10 marks. Write about the production and filling of hard gelatin capsules. So in that case, if he is asking for 4 marks, you need to write about more machines. So let us discuss about Pharmatic filling machine. Okay, it is a dosetar type feeding unit. Okay, this Pharmatic filling machine is a dosetar type feeding unit and it is enclosed. That means it is enclosed in outside. It is having a protection. The inside unit is for filling and outside it is having a protection for dust and noise control. And powder is moved from the product hopper by a screw conveyor. There is a screw conveyor system which will transfer the powder from the hopper to the operating tower where its level is continuously monitored. Okay, because here we need to form a slug. So dosetars will measure and deliver the powder as a slug to the capsules. So the powder is formed into a slug and then delivered to the capsules. A digital display indicates the status of the weight and the compression. So for example, what is the weight that is filled and the capsule, every weight that is shown by the digital display, and if you want you can change that. Adjustments can be made externally. So as I have told you, it is having externally a cover. All the adjustments can be made externally. And the powder slug is ejected into the capsule body, after which the capsule is closed. So the powder slug is ejected into a capsule body, after which the capsule gets closed. Okay, so this is with a Pharmatic filling machine. Very simple. It is a just dosetar type feeding unit. Powder is transferred by a screw conveyor from the hopper into the tower. Then a digital display will be there where it will show you the weight and compression status. Dosetar will measure and deliver the powder as a slug to the capsule. So any adjustments if you want, it can be made externally. And then the powder slug can be ejected into the capsule body, after which a capsule can be closed. So this is a Pharmatic filling principle. Coming to your Osaka machine. Okay, so your Osaka filling machine is a high capacity continuous motion machine which is recently introduced in the United States. So write down this Osaka machine. It is a high capacity continuous motion machine which is recently introduced in the United States. Okay, and it can handle either powder or granule materials. Next, the unit is totally same like Pharmatic principle. The unit is totally enclosed with external access to the capsule and powder hoppers. So we are having external access to the capsule and powder hoppers. So here this is having a very unique principle. So let us see what is the unique principle involved in this Osaka filling machine. Okay, so the unique principle is that vibration is used to move the powder from the powder hopper to the powder shoes, and from powder shoes into the capsule bodies. So the unique principle, the principle which makes this machine unique is about vibration. So vibration is used to move the powder from the powder hopper to the powder shoes and from the powder shoes into the capsule bodies. Then the capsule bodies pass under the powder filling area in 2 rows. Suppose you are having 2 rows. Okay, so under these 2 rows your capsule bodies will pass, and each row is fed by 2 vibratory units. Each row will be fed by 2 vibratory units, and you are having 2 rows, right? So total you are having 4 vibratory units. Then the vibrators, as I have told you, they are externally controlled so that the fill weight and adjustments can be made during a machine operation. So any fill weight, if you want to do any adjustment in the fill weight, it can be done externally because they are externally controlled, right? And because of this method of powder feed, correct powder formulations are essential, right? Because the vibration is used to drive the, it is like a auger, revolving auger or revolving plate. It is based on your slug. Here direct powder is transferred from the powder filling area into your rows, and then the vibratory units will transfer the powder into the capsule bodies. Okay, so and then the provision is made to remove the unjoined capsules. So you'll have a rectification process. As I've told you, there is a rectification process, so that will remove the unjoined capsules, and empty or broken capsules can also be removed. So any broken capsules after filling or any empty capsules are left, that can also be removed after the filling. Okay, and this equipment, it can also be supplemented with various pieces of auxiliary equipment. Okay, so this is with your Osaka filling equipment, Osaka filling machine. So we have seen the Lilly machine, Formatic filling machine, Osaka machine. Similarly, there is a Perry model. I'll send you the pics, you can have a look at them. It is very simple, just if you read you can understand, because there are many machines and I can't explain each and every, so you just have a look. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Perry machine, there is Zanassi machine, okay, and there is Macofar machine, there is MG2 machine. Okay, so all these are your solid filling equipment machines. Next, coming to your liquid filling. So this we have discussed the solid filling, right? Liquid filling. In liquid filling, what you can fill in your capsule bodies. So in liquid you can fill non-aqueous solutions and suspension. So these two dosage forms can be filled in your capsule bodies. So the liquid filling equipment, it is such that it can handle materials with viscosities ranging from 0.1 to 20 pascals. So the liquid filling equipment, it can handle the materials with viscosities ranging from 0.1 to 20 pascals. Okay, and one more important point, the output of liquid filling machines is about 50 to 60% of the output of the same size of powder filling machine. That means the liquid filling capacity is less when compared to your powder filling machine. Why? Even the operational speed of liquid filling machine is slower. Even the operational speed of liquid machine is slower than that your powder filling machine. Why? Because liquid has to pass through a excuse me, because liquid has to pass through a much smaller orifice than that for a powder. So that is why even the operational speed and the output of liquid machines is less than that of your powder filling machines. Okay, so next we have to discuss some formulation components. That is, whenever you are formulating we have already discussed what are the components of a capsule shell, right? So whenever you are doing any formulation, you should consider you should give importance to these factors. Okay, so first thing is powder mix must provide adequate flow characteristics. Okay, so we use excipients to provide flow characteristics. So before proceeding with the compression or the manufacturing of capsules, you should ensure that your powder mix is having adequate flow characteristics, which is required by the equipment. Okay, so in case of powder filling machines such as your Lilly, Osaka and Perry, powder mix must be free flowing. Whereas in case of your slug machine such as your Formatic machine, your Zanassi machine, your Macofar, the powder must have sufficient cohesiveness to retain it in a slug form. Why? Because cohesiveness means what? The degree of intermolecular forces. So slug is what? All the particles will, or the powder will be formed to form a slug. So it should have cohesiveness until it is transferred into the capsule body. Okay, so for example, while filling acetyl salicylic acid, an excipient such as flowable cornstarch, it allows powder filling. Okay, and whereas excipients such as microcrystalline cellulose are required for filling slugs. Okay, so for filling slugs and for filling powders, you require different characteristics. As I have told you, for this flow characteristics, and for this they require cohesive characteristics. So for filling acetyl salicylic acid in powder form, you will require cornstarch. For filling it in a slug form, you will require MCC. Okay, so cornstarch allows powder filling, whereas excipients such as MCC are required for filling your slugs. So this is one of your major consideration. The next consideration is potential incompatibilities should be anticipated with each new mixture of materials. That is, whenever you are using any material, you should study whether there is incompatibility between them. Reactions at elevated temperatures and humidities should be studied for effects. Okay, and you should also study the effects at elevated temperature, the effects at elevated temperature and humidity, they should also be studied. Okay, and only on the contained powder mixture but also on the gelatin capsules. Not on that means these reactions of temperature and humidity, it should not only be studied on your mixtures but also on your gelatin capsules. Okay, so as I've already told you, because as soon as you manufacture your empty capsules, you should store them properly in order to prevent the deterioration. Sometimes they can absorb moisture, sometimes they can lose moisture, so it is very important you store them properly. Okay, so next, your last consideration while you are doing formulation is choice of excipients. So whatever you are choosing the excipient, the choice of excipient, it should be made with a view toward F and FDA, Food and Drug Administration regulations. Okay, so whatever excipient you are choosing, it should pass the FDA regulation. So examples of excipients which you can use include your lactose, your mannitol, talc, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, starch, bentonite, lactose, tapioca powder. Okay, so all these can be used as a suitable excipients for your formulation. Okay, and then we has discussed about the use of diluents, glidants, lubricants and anti-dusting materials. Okay, so diluents, why diluents we use? The determination, why you use diluent? To provide the necessary bulk, right? So the determination of the amount of diluent, it is based on what? The total amount of material, that can possibly put in the capsule in relation to the amount of active ingredient. So for example, diluent is you are using to provide the necessary bulk. So first, if you know that how much active ingredient you are using, then you can determine the amount of diluent to be added to your capsule. Okay, it depends on the amount of active ingredient which you are using. Okay, next, glidants and lubricants. So glidants and lubricants, they are considered for improvement of flow characteristics. So they are very important for powder filling because you should have a flow characteristics, and these glidants and lubricants will improve your flow characteristics. So examples of a glidants, lubricants include your silicon dioxide, your talc, okay, stearic acid, glycol esters and your silicones. So examples include the silicones, glycol esters, stearic acid, silicon dioxide and talc. These are the lubricants which can be added to improve the flow characteristics. Next, you have anti-dusting materials. So in this you have oils. So whatever oils you are using, anti-dusting means, as the name indicates, to eradicate dust or to prevent the occurrence of dust in your capsules which you use during formulation. So anti-dustings includes your oils, and any oils that are used, any oils that are used in the control of dusting, they should be inert, edible, FDA approved material. Okay, it should be inert, approved, edible and FDA approved material. Okay, so this is with your formulation components. Okay, in the next class we will discuss about your capsule fill capacity. That is very important for 2 marks. Write about the various capsule sizes. Okay, he will ask you for 2 marks. Write about various capsule sizes, and then we will see one last topic, finishing, and then we'll start with the evaluation of hard gelatin capsules. That is also important question. With that we will finish the hard gelatin capsules, and then we can start with your soft gelatin capsules. So this is with your hard gelatin capsules filling equipment. Okay, so please go through that. In case of any doubts, please let me know.